Hey, welcome back to Income Trading 101. Today we're looking at AVAX, the Avalanche token really for the Avalanche platform. We're going to do a little technical analysis just to get a better sense. I mean, I can already see you had this nice, and very similar to other tokens. You had this huge run up, and then it really has come off and had a little bit of a pullback. But this is truly just a downward trending. I can just already see myself drawing that line of lower trending resistance. So, or really a lower trending support line, maybe a channel. Anywho, let's do what we always do. We're going to take a look at some moving averages just to start. And this token looks like goes back to last summer, July of 2020. And so we're just going to pull, really it's since this upward move here in 2020 that I'm really curious about. Even from a Fibonacci standpoint, we haven't quite gotten to 100%, but I bet we've gotten to the 78.2. So let's go ahead and just turn this into a 10-day to start. Turn it green, so it'll be our buy signal. We'll turn our mid-range into a red. We'll have it be a 20-day. And then in lower time frames, it'll just be a 20 period. And then for the yellow, we're going to have a 60. So there you go. The yellow kind of represents a longer-term historical view of what price is doing and has done. You can see how all of this reacted when price was heading higher. It actually took a while before the 10-day crossed the 20. Normally you would look for this sort of a crossover to be your first indication of a sell signal, and it came off quite a bit before we got that because these days here were so the price was just rocketing, so it took a while for it to catch up. At this point, we definitely are in a bearish trend. You've got the 60-day is higher than the 20, which is higher than the 10. So that is classic bearish markets for, when it comes to moving averages. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. So when we pull it down to the 1 hour, it gets really tight, looks like. I have to lower this up, play at the time frame a little bit. I love that trading view allows me to do that pretty easily. We are showing bearish at the 1 hour front, even though these last three bars have been higher today. That might mean that, well, we'll see how that affects the lower time frames, but we're still very much bearish at the 1 hour standpoint. And the 30-minute is still bearish, okay? And how about the 15? The 15-minute has our first sign of a crossover. As you can see that the 10 period is about 1.5 cents more than the 20 period. You can see that in the numerical values over in the upper left hand corner of the video screen. All right, let's kick this back to the 1 day. We're gonna go out and take a look at some MACD action, and I like the MACD because it actually does use the exponential moving averages. The difference between a simple moving average and the exponential is that the exponential is going to weight recent data higher or heavier than it does older data. So in theory, you're getting a more up-to-date or more present use of averages, and the calculations of these red and blue lines, the red is the signal line, the blue is the MACD line. Calculation of those uses exponentially weighted moving averages. If you want a description or more of a little bit of a tutorial, I created a tutorial video. So go ahead and click on the channel and go to the playlist and choose the video that says how to trade stock using technical analysis. It works. It's the same indicators for stock or futures or Forex or whatever. But in that video, I actually explain how these indicators are calculated and how I'm using them, just so you're familiar and can understand the analysis being done. Also, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you to those of you who have subscribed. I'm trying to grow this channel out this year, so I appreciate your help. So let's get back to the analysis. At the daily level, you had a nice bearish crossover back here in February, and it's kind of just sort of hung around the zero line for quite a while. Went a little bit below and gave you a little bit of a buy signal there, but that didn't last long. And it crossed on below. You had a buy signal actually a couple weeks ago on June the 2nd, but it's, again, kind of flat, and I'm not certain. In fact, I'm real sure I'm not positive on that buy signal just yet. When it flattens out like that, that lets me know that the current trend's probably going to continue a bit more. I prefer seeing a crossover happen and then seeing both lines go either from positive to negative or from negative to positive. So when it flattens out like that, to me, that just means that the momentum is most likely to keep things the way they're heading in the current trend. At the hourly level, let's just make this where you can see it a little better. Span that range out. There we go. We did have a bullish crossover back here on the 18th. That was 2 days ago. But again, we haven't crossed into positive territory. So I would say this is really kind of a stale signal right now. It's not, we haven't seen a true bullish crossover. If right now the blue line, the MACD line is below the red, the signal line. If that crosses over and it immediately crosses above the zero line, I would take that as a buy signal. But until then, I wouldn't use at the 1 hour for sure this MACD to trade on. At the 30-minute, we had a our most recent sell signal on the 18th. We also had a pretty nice one on the 17th. And we had a little bullish crossover. We had a buy signal on the 18th later in the afternoon. And it did end up crossing the zero line. But you can see price didn't really do that much. And so now we're hovering back around at the 30-minute and probably at the 15-minute. I actually wouldn't use the MACD. It's nice to be aware of them. I want to be there. I want to see any signals here get validated at the larger time frames. I would not just trade with the MACD in one time frame. And you can see how grand this move was. And actual price went from, we'll call it 1321 up to 1382, which I guess isn't bad. A nice 61-cent move. That's decent. That's a 5% move on this stock, but on this crypto. But nonetheless, that's intraday. It's a little riskier because we've gotten an upward move, but it's still overall, I think, trending lower. So let's kick this. Let's get out of this. We're going to take a look now at our usual. We're going to do a little Fibonacci analysis, and we're going to see if we can see some levels, maybe draw some nice lines, all sorts of stuff. So let's first do this. I'm going to pull this down here, get that stretched out a little bit. I do think this is interesting. Let me try. Just trying to make sure I don't want a flat line. There we go, flat line. So right now we're sitting near what was resistance for a little while before it blew through it in February. Now it's closer to being support. It's right around where we are right now. What would that be? This $13.57 level. So we're not far from that right now. Let's do a Fibonacci retracement just to get a better look, a full look really, from bottom to the top here. I'm going to pull it across. You can see that even in this scenario, we've already surpassed the 78.6% retracement. So normally you would expect it to head back to a full 100%. I don't see that happening. Let's take a look at a few other things. I do think some of these channels and some of this previous support and resistance could end up holding. Just seeing if it was going to let me calibrate it in such a way to make sure I'm not overstepping my bounds. It's so hard to get straight lines sometimes. I think that channel range could end up being very interesting. We just dropped into it a little bit, but you know, the bottom part of that channel, which kind of served as support for a while, I think could end up being relevant for this here soon, and that's the $11.15, 11.14 range. Very, 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 very interesting. Also, let's get rid of this. I'm gonna go ahead and look at. I mean, this is. Tighten that up a little. Now, obviously, we've had plenty of you know, going outside of this, but check out this range, how similar it is back in. It's basically a continuation from like where we are right now. Seems to be a continuation from what was started back in late February and March. And of course, there were some other. So in this scenario, you'd have a low end. Sorry about that. You'd have a low end closer to, you know, $11.95, 12 bucks, which I'm sure if you own this you're probably not looking forward to hearing that we could end up going down another dollar, maybe even more. But this does not look very constructive right now. This definitely looks like it's heading lower, and definitely want to be aware. I'm curious. This is not one of the tokens that I own. I'd love to hear if you guys own this and what you're thinking. Are you seeing similar things? Because this doesn't look very constructive right now. Most crypto is actually looking a little stressed right now, a little stretched. As I speak, Ethereum is you know, hovering around $2,000. So interesting day. Maybe in the coming days we'll see some more strength, but as of right now, I'm not really seeing it. And on the upper end, if we did end up getting a nice little rally, I would start to look for, you know, resistance here in the what's that, $21 range, which would be very nice. And you know, sometimes people will ask, like, how do you get these numbers? It really is the fact that oftentimes when you have previous support and resistance, it's not just that they are support and resistance, it's that there are a number of people looking at those levels for buys and sells. There may be orders still sitting out there that would be triggered. There may also be people whose levels really didn't change, and they're going to continue when they have the moment to go ahead and trade it again. So that's going to be it for this video. I'm less familiar with Avalanche. The platform itself sounds pretty interesting, but I'm not certain that I'd go buying this governance token anytime soon, not until I see a few more bullish indicators. We had lots of bearish indicators, signs that price would be going lower, and the only idea that I think is supportive of this right now is that our price right now is sitting on what should be a support level. So we'll see if it holds and goes higher, or if it breaks on through to the other side. So hope you guys are having a great day. Today is June the 20th. Happy Father's Day if you're in the US, and as usual, happy trading.